Hi Art 302 students. This video will take you through some information regarding your assignment for 2018. So this assignment comes out of chapter 9 of your textbook. So a good starting point is to read chapter 9 of your textbook. This chapter is entitled Integrating Music with the Study of Peoples, Places and Cultures. This is a self-study unit. You need to read how in the textbook they suggest that music is integrated in a study of different peoples, different places, and different cultures. And here they outline how music can be a vehicle to learn about different places, different people, and different cultures. Your textbook takes you through the different continents, one by one. And with that in mind, the countries that you may choose from all represent different continents. So we have Morocco from Africa, Japan from Asia, Portugal from Europe, and Venezuela from South America. So you have to select one of the countries. Once you have done that, you need to research the general musical features of this country. So you can start with Google, but really by third year, using web pages such as Wikipedia and so on are not suitable. I would say that's a good starting point, but once you have read what Wikipedia has to offer, have a look at the references that Wikipedia cites and try to delve more deeply into those. Your introduction is going to be approximately 3/4 to 1 page, and you're going to really tell me about what kind of music I can expect if I go to that country. So, for example, Morocco, you're going to tell me about the traditional music of Morocco, what kind of things I can expect, what kind of instruments I can expect, what it might sound like, anything that has to do with the general musical features of this country. Now, the reason that I've included this is because if you plan on doing a music lesson on the music of Morocco, it is really important that you know something about the music of Morocco. As with any lesson that you teach in the foundation phase, you need to carry out background research. So this 3/4 to 1 page is going to be the background research that you would conduct as a teacher before using the music of Morocco with your learners. It is important always as a teacher to have a basis or an understanding of a kind of music before you introduce it to your class. Very importantly, this information needs to be referenced. At this stage, before reading about it, none of you probably have any idea about what the music of Morocco is like. You are borrowing this information from other sources, so please make sure that you reference it correctly, both in text and on a reference page. So once you've had a look at the background information about the music of this country, you're going to plan a music lesson based on the music of the country you have selected. But your lesson also needs to integrate this music with the study of peoples, places, and cultures. So the idea is you're going to use chapter 9 of your textbook as a springboard. You're going to see how they have done it and the various lesson plans in that chapter. And you're going to create your own music lesson that is going to introduce your learners not only to the music of that country, but also to the people, place, and culture of that country. You're going to plan your music lesson under the following headings. It is not necessary to use the Embry lesson plan. You're rather going to write in your assignment lesson introduction, lesson development, and lesson consolidation. You're going to have a paragraph or two underneath each of these headings where you're going to explain to me what you plan on doing in each of these sections. So the kinds of things you might do in your lesson is, let's think about the different musical concepts that you have learnt in this course. So maybe you're going to select a piece of music from Morocco, you're going to play it for your class, you're then going to talk about the dynamics, for example, and then you're going to integrate it with the people, the places, and the cultures. So maybe you're going to do a musical concept and the study of the people's, places, and cultures. Maybe you're going to teach them a song from that country. Maybe you're going to play a song and we're going to do some kind of a listening activity. So think back to what we did in class. We listened to Peer Gynt and we did, you filled in a before and after. Remember, you listened to the music at the beginning and the end and you compared it and we had a listening map. When we listened to the syncopated clock, you put the little cards in order. Is that something that you could do with the piece of music you've selected? What other things could you get them to listen out for if you plan on doing a listening lesson? Maybe you're going to talk about the general features of the music of that country, and maybe you're going to have a few different pieces that they can compare. Maybe you're going to talk about the music of that country and talk about the instruments that they use. Maybe the instruments are different to instruments that we're used to. If you're going to teach a song, maybe you can talk about the cultural significance of that song, and you'll explain to me how you would teach that song. So really, there are lots and lots of ideas and lots of different ways you could do this. Just another idea in terms of rhythm, you could play a song and then we could play rhythm along with it. Or they could learn a little melody on the glockenspiel. So think about the things we've done this semester, and then think about how you could integrate those with the study of peoples, places, and cultures and your chosen country. Guys, it is really important that your lesson introduction, development, and consolidation flow into each other, that there's some connection between them, as is important in any lesson you give. If you're going to be talking about something in the development, it's important that it is introduced in the introduction. I would caution you against making musical instruments in the class, in the development. And the reason for this is it's not really practical. Students are not going to have enough time, and you're not going to have the necessary things with you to make musical instruments. So I would caution you against doing that in your lesson development. I know that some people might fall into that trap, but I don't think that's really what I'm looking for in this assignment. So once you've done your lesson, you're going to write a final paragraph in which you discuss how the content of the music lesson could be integrated into other learning areas. So now you're not talking about the study of peoples, places, and cultures, because you've already done this in your music lesson. Now you're going to look at how whatever you've done could integrate into other learning areas. Now, if you think back to Peer Gynt, which we listened to in the class, we spoke about how we could integrate it perhaps in English. We could write the story of what happened in the cave, for example. We could write a poem based on what happened. Geographically, if we want to link with the study of geography, we could look at caves, how caves are formed, where the cave is to be found. We could look at it on a map. In terms of science, we could look at what kind of rocks are in caves, what kind of animals you're going to find in caves. So that's ways that you could integrate that piece of music into other learning areas. And now you need to think about how you could integrate what you have done into other learning areas. Just some general guidelines. You are being awarded marks for the quality of writing, the quality of the lesson you plan, and the strength of the research carried out. Please make sure that all the research that you use is correctly referenced. If you have taken lesson ideas from other sources, that is fine, but please reference them. So I'm not expecting to see referencing in the lesson that you create, but I am expecting to see referencing if you have borrowed those ideas from elsewhere. If you've thought of them out of your own head, that's fine, then they won't be referenced. But if you take them from somewhere else, you need to reference them. If you use musical examples off YouTube, you need to reference those as well. And just on that note, point 3 says if you make use of listening examples and you want to use YouTube, please email the link to my email address. There it is there. You need to do this on or before the due date of the assignment. I'm not going to chase you up when I get your assignment and say, where's your listening example? If you haven't emailed it to me, then I'm just going to accept that I don't have it and I can't mark that section. In terms of point 2, guys, really important, you cannot just quote from your lecture notes in your textbook, especially in the first section where you are looking at the musical features. You really need to source additional material. I want to see things from journal articles, books, reputable websites. So not things like Wikipedia and so on, but reputable websites which I can follow up on. If your lesson includes worksheets or resources, please include them with your assignment. You do not have to include worksheets and so on. You do not have to include resources. But if you are going to make use of a worksheet in your music lesson and you would like to include it, you are very welcome to. Please, if you need help with referencing, you can go to the Center for Student Success, or you may very welcome to make an appointment to see me. As I said, I'm available this week until Friday. You can drop me an email and make a time to see me. We'll look at the rubric on the next, shortly on the next slide. Please just detach that and staple it to your assignment. Please, guys, no folders, just a staple in the corner is absolutely fine, and there are the details about the font size and so on. Students, please will you put your entire assignment through Turnitin. So that is all the way from the beginning to the end. Every page that I get in the assignment, I expect to see on Turnitin, including the reference page. So I normally carry out a random check of about 10% of the assignments. I will go on and check what is on ECI. I will check that it corresponds with what I have in front of me in terms of the assignment. If it is different, so you've submitted something different to Turnitin, I'm only going to mark what has been put through Turnitin. You guys are in third year now. There's no excuse for this. The whole assignment needs to go through Turnitin. And as I said, I'll carry out random checks. And if you're only going to put the introduction through, then that's all that will be marked. So please make sure that the entire assignment goes through Turnitin. So how are the marks being allocated for this? Well, 30 marks for the discussion of the general musical features of the country. So I want to see that you have a good depth of understanding, that you've engaged with the topic, that you know about the general musical features of this country, that you've carried out good research. 50 marks for your music lesson. You can see there the different descriptors. I'm looking for good introduction, good development, good consolidation, a good flow between the sections. Try to think of a lesson that's going to be creative and engaging. Music can be so fun. So think of something that your foundation phase learners are really going to enjoy. And I also want to see that it's a good introduction to the music of the chosen country, so that you've integrated it well with the people, the place, and the culture. Your paragraph where you're talking about integrating it with other areas, you get 10 marks for that. So I want to see that you have integrated well and purposefully with other sections of the curriculum. And then finally, 5 marks for referencing and 5 marks for language. So please edit your work carefully and make sure what you're giving me is a polished product. Students, this is due on the 15th of October, so please make sure it is in on time and put into the assignment box. And good luck. If you have any further questions, you're welcome to email them to me.